A year ago when you sat here in this chair, there was a lot more uncertainty as to how last season was going to go. But now with a full year under your belt and some really high expectations for this year's team, how do you feel heading into year two? What are the biggest differences?
Overall comfort level, and to have a year of experience, and of with our players understanding kind of what the base expectations are, having been through the highs, been through some lows, kind of getting a sense of how everybody's going to respond. It's just really built for the excitement for the year coming up, and we know there's high expectations. We had high expectations of our team last year, but for us, it's just trying to focus on the day that we're getting to experience, focusing on that step, and then work to put ourselves in the best position to be successful.
Riley Ferguson was able to step into that quarterback role for your team last year. You had some pretty big shoes to fill with Paxton Lynch leaving, but now that you've had a chance to assess Riley in game situations, how do you think he did last year?
I thought he did well. I think just like any first-year quarterback, at the beginning of the year he was really feeling his way into the offense, getting the experience, and I was really pleased with how he progressed throughout the year. And he played. I thought he did a great job, growing through the season. I think the last month of the season he had 12 touchdowns and maybe only 1 interception, and just showing that his overall understanding and control of the offense was something that he was really getting a grasp. And then really from the end of the last season till throughout the summer, he's probably been the most improved player that we've had through practice, and just overall understanding of what that leadership role is. And I think he's poised to have a great year.
You mentioned leadership. How have you seen his leadership style translate on the field and just to his teammates around him?
Well, I think last year having the experience and success that he had, guys really believed in what he could do. And then as you get to go through another spring ball, guys are just the comfort with him. They're able to see his experiences of how he practices, his overall understanding and confidence, and that really is pushing everybody else to elevate their game to another level. And so that's probably been the area I've been most pleased with Riley, because that's what he needed to do, and just like any quarterback, but he's done an exceptional job.
Riley led this league last year with 32 touchdown passes. You have 9 offensive starters returning. What is that experience going to allow your offense to do this season?
Well, it sets us up for an opportunity to go out there and I believe be successful. You look at our offense last year, we were an explosive offense. We had a lot of big plays. You alluded to the 32 touchdowns, which we're all excited about. The thing we've got to make sure we do is become a more consistent offense. Eliminate some of the negatives. Cut down on some of the turnovers that we did have, and that's something that with that experience coming back, we've been able to focus a lot on the details and overall understanding of what we're doing conceptually as an offense, and continuing to play towards the strength of our players.
Anthony Miller is one of the greatest offensive weapons that you have returning, arguably underrated in many ways. And what are you most impressed about with his skill set?
He's got a phenomenal skill set. He can stretch the field vertically as a big play receiver. Obviously, he also has a running ability and strength if you get the ball to him quick to make big things happen. But probably Anthony's best asset is something that no fan really gets to see. It's his work ethic and the way that he prepares himself for games. He is a 365-day-a-year workhorse. I mean, every day that he goes out to work, he pushes himself to the limit, and that's what shows up on game day, is that preparation and that just overall desire to be a great player.
This team will have quite a few new faces in the secondary. Who are some players that we can expect to emerge out of this group, and what is your evaluation of them at this point in the year?
Well, I think everything starts with our leadership back there, and we're returning, I believe, one of the best defensive backs in the league, and Jonathan Cook. He led our team in tackles last year. He played safety for us. He's also a young man that has great versatility, can play corner, can play safety. He's going to be the guy that's going to really kind of make everything go in the back end. We've got some newcomers. You got Sean Rupert at safety. It played a lot for us last year. The corner position, we were able to get a couple junior college players. One I expect to have a great year is Tito Wyndham. Was there with us through the spring and was really able to establish himself as a guy that we know we can count on. And then we've got some young players, some freshmen that we think are going to come in, and TJ Carter is one that comes to mind. Was #1 rated a cornerback in the state of Tennessee last year, and we feel like he can come in there and make an early impact for us. But it's going to be fun to be able to see which guys rise up and take a hold of that opportunity.
On special teams, wide receiver Tony Pollard returns, the reigning American Special Teams Player of the Year. I mean, he had some explosive plays last year, a really fun player to watch. What makes him such a dynamic weapon on your team?
You know, it's funny because a lot of people talk about Tony just as the returner because that's, you know, obviously what shows up, but what I think he's a complete package when it comes to a special teams player. He's one of our best guys in coverage on our kickoff cover unit. He actually plays one of our gunners on our punt unit. And so he's phenomenal in coverage, but also is a great returner. And you know, he understands the importance of every play, and that's something that we try to stress. You know, as a special teams unit, you know, Coach Lorg's done a phenomenal job, but our team has bought into that aspect of the game, and you know, I think that Tony really shows that in every aspect, just with his passion and desire to understand that he can change the game in any one of those special teams units.
So this team is definitely in the conversation this year for the conference crown and has some pretty high expectations surrounding it. And when you take a look at your schedule, you not only have some really tough games, a lot of those games come on the road. How do you kind of keep this team focused on just the week to week and not letting the season get too big for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's truly just doing that. And since the day that I got the job at Memphis, and we always talk about that next step. And the most important step that we can take is the one that we have in front of us today. And so if we can truly continue to buy into that mentality and to not worry about what happened the week before or what's going to come in a couple of weeks in advance, and just truly focus on being the best that we can be with the opportunity that we have in front of us. I like the opportunity that this team has, and you know, I've got a lot of confidence in them.
8-5 in your first season as the head coach. What is the potential of this year's team?
You know, that's to be determined, and you know, it's going to take a phenomenal fall camp. You know, obviously preparation. You know, we do have some new pieces that are coming in, and we're continuing to establish what the identity of this football team is going to be. And so, you know, even with guys that are returning, you know, I don't want any person that's returning on this football team to be the same player they were last year. I want a better version. I want improvement. I want improvement from every coach, from every aspect. You know, I have to do a better job as a head coach, and so if every person will trust in that process and continue to improve, I think we have an opportunity to be in the conversation when it comes to trying to win a championship, because you know that is our goal. That's our goal every year. But you know, you can't talk about a championship unless you take care of the opportunity that's right there squarely in front of you.
Having the confidence from last season and seeing that they can do this, and now they're even better this year, how do you think they're handling that, knowing what they possibly could accomplish this year? How do they feel about it?
Well, I mean, they feel great, but they also understand what it takes to be able to achieve that success. And you know, we've had a phenomenal spring practice. Where our summer training is one as good as any group I've ever been around. And so, you know, you can talk about great expectations, you can talk about what you'd like to do, but unless your actions speak louder than that, it doesn't really matter. And so, you know, we're going to have an opportunity to go out there and put ourselves in plenty of competitive situations. But our preparation and our mindset of what we do between now and that first game is going to determine the outcome. And so we fully believe in the young men that we have and the coaches that we have leading those young men, but we know every game's going to come down to one play. And playing in this league, the schedule that we have, having to go on the road, I mean, there's going to be a challenge every week.